Alright, custom seats for cafe racers. There is a veritable plethora of them available online, everywhere. Or you can create your own from bits of scrap metal and stuff. Stay tuned. So we're going to be looking at all of those, adapting mounts and stuff to fit online available seats, adapting the original seat to fit your new chock frame, and much more. So I suggest you stay tuned and subscribe down here. And it's not just about the seat itself and whether it fits, it's actually how to fit it to the motorcycle, to the frame. They are never plug and play. This one's a good example, actually, because it is straight off Amazon or eBay or whatever. And the kids that had started this cafe racer build, gave up very early on, had basically built this seat pan. One of the things they had done. Yeah, which fits neatly into the frame via 2 bolt holes there. So having sourced a seat online which would exactly fit the pan, it wasn't even then that straightforward. Here's how it went. Other exciting things that turned up. Yes, no prizes for guessing what that is. Yeah, it's very nice, and it came with a free shower cap. Now it's just a question of whether it fits or not, really. Well, I would say that's a yes. I've still got it on that platform. Whether I need that or not, probably not. Well, I think it'll sit perfectly nicely just on the frame. Let's see what attachments it came with. Well, various bits and pieces, which I presume you can configure any which way you like as to where you're going to fit everything on. That one, I guess, hooks under the fuel tank mount at the front there. Okay, nice. All right, I think I'm going to take the pan off and see what it looks like underneath. Well, I guess these boys could be adjusted somehow or made to fit onto the frame there relatively simply. Yeah, I don't know about the front end of things. Those little pads don't quite sit on the frame either, so I'm not sure whether we're better off with the pan in place. Let's try that. One kind of issue, we've got a bit of a gap there. I don't know, honestly, if it'll bend enough with some kind of securing device. That's where we've got our 2 screws either side, bolts. So we'll probably get something to make that happen. And then we got the other 2 bolts up front, which would certainly marry up with the pan. They're just not long enough, unfortunately. Don't know what to do about that. I guess we need some of those kind of sleeve type devices that would screw onto this and then be long enough to come and meet the pan or through the pan, and then a bolt on the other end. Yes, let's look those up then. But the good news is I think we can make it work, and pretty good value for, I think it's like around 50 bucks. I think what we need is some kind of metal piece that fills that gap. I think what we should do first is work out how we're going to fit it, and then see what that gap looks like, and then see how we might be able to accommodate some kind of filler piece. And I think we should wear the shower cap for this operation. Yeah, I know, like that. So we've translated those posts onto the pan, on the underside of the pan, by measuring this inset, which was 32.7 millimeters. So that's where they are. And it looks like the other 2 at the back are going to fall kind of on the crease, which might be really handy. Whether we take them on the upswing or the flat piece, I'm not sure at this point. I think we're going to deal with the front end first and just see what that is. And I think I mentioned last time, I can't find it now, actually I found it the other day when I was looking for something else, but using a sleeve bolt, there it is. Yeah, possibly using a sleeve bolt, which is one of these. Yeah, so yeah, that's not good, is it? Well, anyway, you see what I mean? It's threaded inside, so that would go through the seat and then bolt up to that if it was the right thread and if it was the right length and everything else. Because obviously these are welded into the plastic and nothing we can do about that. They're a little bit on the short side, aren't they? Yep, we definitely have to find some of those sleeve bolts because that's not going to reach. Which is disappointing again. As you can tell, we're making progress on the seat, so we've got those back two mounts in place now, and now it's just a question of filling the gap, and I've been working on that too. Yes, I bought some 2-inch aluminum angle, and here's one I prepared earlier. Well, I just cut it, and it is indeed a rough cut, as you can probably tell, but you can see where I'm going with it. It's to fill that gap. For the purposes of this exercise, I've had to unscrew that back end again, and you can see it's kind of doing the job. So obviously the seat will come down a little further, and actually the angle will change probably to meet that line I've got. So the only thing I can do at this point probably is just take off that back end a little bit there and then give it a test fit. So there's that loosely fitted, and then the seat bolts through there. And the beauty, of course, of aluminum is that you can bend it very easily. So I haven't bent it as much as that line yet. We'll see what it looks like in the seat situation. At this point, I'm questioning whether we need that last remaining rubber piece in there to lift all this away from the seat. Possibly not, honestly. We'll come to that later, but it's time for the shutdown. See whether that's going to work. It looks kind of good from here, right? I haven't put those bolts in at the back yet, and for two reasons. Firstly, you can see that unfortunately that angle is just a little bit too steep on the aluminium cut, so I need to adjust that by adding 5mm. And the other reason is that I'll turn it around. Those boys kind of don't quite line up with the bolts, and what I'm thinking is we've got a separate operation back here, these guys, that we can potentially use instead. So it's a good first attempt, proof of concept, whatever. Unfortunately the cut-off is not enough to make another one, but I did order 3, so we've got 2 left. So I've used version 1.1 as a rough template, and as you can see I've given myself some leeway. Holes drilled. Well, I haven't got those holes in the right place. Second time around, obviously. I'm preferring that situation, using those very rearward posts, bolts from the seat. Version 1.2. Clearly gonna need some fettling, obviously, tidying up amongst
other things. So yeah, a little bit off here, then that'll nestle into that corner, and yeah, probably a lot taken off this end, but we're getting there. And at this point, it's all about patience, doing things bit by bit, which, as you know, is not really my bag, but I'll try and do it. I thought I'd try out my new favourite tool. It's not, but anyway, to just cut out this little scoop here with a little grinding kind of cutting attachment. Honestly, this stuff's probably a little bit thick. I think it's an 1/8, so it's probably a little bit thick for a Dremel to kind of attack, but you can obviously get a lot more accurate in your line, your curve, with such a small tool compared to a proper angle grinder, grown up big boys toys. And it's kind of deep enough that I think I can bend it off and then tidy it up on the old wheel over here. Yeah, perfect, snapped off in an instant. And honestly, it's a little bit gratuitous, but it was just to tidy up that front line. Actually, it's beautifully done. So, yeah, sweet, very pleased with that. And contrary to what I said before, I think I'm just going to paint this orange. Yeah, I think it's going to look good. It's a star-studded castle with little and large. And Bono, of course. This is actually for the Kawasaki, but we're going to be cutting out the other seat piece. Well, I ended up doing it with a big boy. Yes, Mr. Kawasaki. So that needs some tidying up. Oh, I know, how boring, no sparks. Well, it's coming along, shaping up, literally. Yep, I think that does the trick pretty well. And I think what I might do, I'm not sure yet, but what I might do is actually paint this whole seat pan, the orange, and then actually fill in here with filler. I might just do that so it looks really pucker from the outside. In which case, I'm going to rivet them. And there we have it. Yes, so we're going to be filling those with filler and sanding and all that kind of stuff. Bondoed up, and the perfect applicator. Yes, a lollipop stick. Yeah. That's the general idea. I don't know, we'll see. We'll put the seat on it, see what it looks like. Might be a little bit much. Well, there it is, all kind of bolted together. I need some proper bolts, but it's kind of there. I don't know about the orange rim. I think probably need to get rid of that and just have the little orange flash in there. I think that's what I need. What do you think? So that was the fitting the off-the-shelf custom seat to the pan on the Honda. There's a whole series on this Honda, the entire build. If you'd like to watch that, I'll try and put a link up here. I'm not very good at that. Anyway, that took rather longer than expected, which just goes to show that these off-the-shelf stuff is not a plug and play, and there's always a lot of jiggery-pokery involved in getting them to fit. So let's have a look at another one of those. This is one where I bought the seat pan, if you like, seat tail unit, complete with padded seat itself, and had to work out how to fit it to the Moto Guzzi frame. Seat has turned up. Not bad. It's very close on the back wheel. Well, in fact, it's resting on it right now, but it fits. And just a little elevation at the back should bring it clear of the wheel. Comes with a suitably moulded seat as well. Lovely. Got
find a light that fits that, I guess. And obviously it would be foolish not to use the mounts that already existed for the old seat. Yes, we're still waiting for the fuel tank, but we've got to work out some kind of bracket that comes off there that we can bolt onto the inside of the seat, round about there somewhere, without having nasty nuts and bolts sticking outside. That's going to be complicated, because that's what we've got to play with in there. The more I look at this seat and the back wheel situation and clearance, I think we need to shave a little off that rear lip, modify it slightly, give us a little bit more clearance. Or maybe something a little more radical still. Yeah, I'm thinking to shave it off to that top line, so it comes flush with that scoop out there. We could do the scoop in red as well, that might look good. Anyway, I'm thinking I'm going to do that. No point in messing around with half measures. Cut. Much better. Just needs a bit of a tidy up. That's that all cleaned up as promised. What shall we do next? So in terms of mounting it, I thought about lots of different ways of doing it. I've left them all in just in case any of use to any of you. Some are a bit more crazy than others, but finally I found a solution that suited me. And so, to mounting the seat, I've just had a new tap installed. And that's a full set for my American friends. And so this is spare, and it's kind of just about the right width. So prototype number 1, I'm going to bend this up, drill some holes in it, and see what happens. Just like that. Yeah. Shall we see if the seat fits on top of it? So it actually corresponds with the widest part of the seat, and that's a little bit high. I've got a piece of wood across there just to kind of raise it up. That's a bit too high, so we need about half that. That's what that looked like underneath. So this is actually flush with the edge of the seat, so we need it about ½ inch lower than that, I think, and not a piece of wood, probably. Just a prototype, folks. Well, I think that's about right. We have a nice level line. Cool. Okay. Gonna need a bigger strip of aluminum. 20mm box aluminum tubing, and that's all screwed into place. So let's fit that up and see what that looks like. There we go. Let's see what the seat looks like. Well, it would look something like that. Plenty of clearance on the rear wheel now, that's good. Talking of which, if we can get away without using that 20mm bar, I think we will, because I'd like the edge of the seat to sit closer to the frame if possible, right? But for once, we have a plan B in place before we've even tried plan A. That's good. And it fits. Only thing is, it's a little longer than we were anticipating. So our seat is now further back. And we've got some options here, obviously. We can chop the seat. I might do that. Or we can just kind of rethink it a little bit. It's only, I want to say, like a couple of inches further back than we anticipated. I don't know. What do you think? If we did cut it, we could kind of shape that line to meet the back of the tank better as well. Quite like that idea. What's that bit of wood doing there? Well, I'm thinking is to fit that to the underside of the seat. Yeah. And then get somebody with some wood tools to actually kind of, I don't know what you call it. Is it routing? I don't know. But put a curve in this so that it sits on the bar nicely. And maybe fix it to that. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Wood. Honestly. A far cry from the wooden seat that I almost built for the CB750. This will just be a wooden mount. But I think it'll work. Am I mad? That's what I'm thinking. A curve in there that then fits on the tubular frame. And that in turn fits in the seat. What? It could work, because I'm pretty sure we're going to chop the seat, yeah, and take it at an angle, like we said. I don't know how short we're going to chop it though. And of course, what that means is that we'll lose that front edge, which is what was going to sit on the frame. So let's see how much we need to take off the seat using that little boy to find that cross member on the frame. 7 centimeters, nearly 3 inches. That's quite a chunk. Looking at it in situ though, I don't think we need to take that much off. All right. Oh, I think maybe just an inch. Well, apparently my handyman friend hasn't got a special tool for doing such things to pieces of wood. And then I came up with a better idea. Yes, plastic tubing fixed to the wood. It's a 1-inch tube, so it's slightly smaller than the 30mm. And as you can see, I've cut a little section out. And not only does it fit, but it grips. That's good, isn't it? Oh, I'm clever. Bingo. Anyone else spotted the obvious error? Or problem, issue, whatever you want to call it? Yeah, they're going to show, aren't they? Should have got a clear pipe. Just marking up the 20-degree slant. Oops. On the seat. Something like that. There we have it. Well, I think that's about right. Yeah. What's more, the rear bracket matches up with that perfectly. So, spot on, first time result. And of course, the sharper amongst you will have realised that that means we've got to chop this as well, which is not going to look pretty. Yes, the seat pad. So we're going to have to cover it after all, which we didn't really want to do. Then I started considering building something out of aluminum. And then I found this. Yes, on my rack of bits and pieces. It's the seat frame, actually, from the Yamaha R6. It might be possible to modify it. But as you can see, it fits the actual shape of the frame perfectly. Not a totally stupid idea. that's what we're left with. What we're going to do is get some aluminum L-shaped stuff like that. We've got plenty of it, right? And we're going to bolt it up there, and that will bolt to the seat. And yeah, well, that's the idea. We're going to start there and see where it takes us, as usual. You get the idea. So I'm thinking some holes through here to bolt that in. Maybe plastic clips at the front, I don't know. And don't know what else yet. Haven't really thought it through yet. Well, this idea of mine is coming together quite nicely, crazy though be it. So what I've got here is a little bar, threaded bar here, which obviously we need to mount to the frame somehow, which will allow the seat to actually hinge at the front there. And at the back here, it snugs down just really perfectly. The width is absolutely spot on that original bracket on the frame there. So that's cool. We're going to have a seat that tips up. Now I've had a better idea for all this. It's a bit of a eureka moment. Not in the bath though. To be totally precise, it was actually in the bathroom at the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Las Vegas, where I noticed the perfect right angle bracket that was holding up the courtesy screen to the wall by the urinal. Yeah. So I'm not going to be pissing around trying to invent a frame. I'm going to just buy some of those brackets if I can find them. Yes, unfortunately I did not have a screwdriver handy with me to remove them from the aforementioned bathroom. No urinals were harmed during the filming of this video. Stage one, pop rivet nuts in the frame, because some smart arse obviously put wiring down here, so we can't go through the frame. So these are perfect. If you haven't seen these before, they're a brilliant solution. There's plenty of other videos of mine showing how to put them in. I'll see if I can put a link in the description to one of those. Anyway, that's how we're going to bolt on our bracket, which then the seat frame will fit to. Obviously, I had to drill some holes to put them in. And how did I manage to do that without destroying the wiring? Well, the answer is very carefully. Next up, we have a 1.5 inch aluminum angle, and plenty of it, which I'm going to fit to the outside of the seat frame. Okay, all chopped up and ready to go. So this will now fit nicely, not like that, like that. Lovely. Job done. Sprayed that up red, obviously, rude not to. Gonna leave these aluminum. Time to start putting this together. Coming along nicely. Now bolted the aluminum to the aluminum. Yes, the L shape to the original existing R6 frame. Next up, I think what I'm going to do is put another crossbar across the top here. Obviously we've got that in place there already, but I'm just going to put one from here to here, just strengthen the form somewhat. And for that I'm going to use some of that box section that I originally bought for the rear end of the seat to lift it up. Just needs a little trim, and then we can bolt that in place too. Okay, a little bit like that. So what I'm going to do here is because obviously we've got to bolt this to the bottom of the seat, which will involve going through the seat. So we're going to be using some countersunk bolts so that they fit flush with the top of the seat. So what I'm going to do is use these two holes here as the front ones for the seat as well. So we're going to need some extra long countersunk bolts for that. Usual chopstick trick through the box to mark the holes, and we're going to be using our drill pad. Yes, mouse pad, drill pad. Best use I could find for my iPad. Just so happens I had a couple of countersunk 6mm bolts kicking around. That's a miracle, isn't it? Yeah. So they're even the right length, because by the time you put the seat in there as well, obviously this side, yeah, we've got just enough. So there you have the basic kind of framework. Now I guess we need to work on the hinge itself on the frame over there, and sort out the seat. But there it is, roughly in position. You get the general idea. One hinging seat frame thing. And there it is, bolted at the front, at least, to the seat. With our countersunk. Yeah, there we go. Just got to do the bracket, hinge bracket to hold it on. And that's how it's going to look with the tank in place. Yeah, not bad. Good fit, good angle. Just got to fit it. And of course, as mentioned before, we have to chop the seat pad itself. Now we've shortened that seat base. And that's probably going to involve some kind of knife. I've used a bread knife in the past to cut through such things. Not sure what that's going to look like once it's cut, but we'll probably have to cover it, which I didn't really want to have to do. 1/2 inch brackets, too low on the bottom setting, too high on the top. Looks like we need an inch bracket instead. Meanwhile, we have our brace for going across the frame. It's a little bit long. Holes are a little bit short, so we'll just mark up where we need that hole, cut a bit off and round it up. We have cut our rod, and that's how that's going to work. So the bracket is going to go in between here and here on the inside. So we're going to bolt it to that. Somewhere in the middle, like that. So plenty more opportunities to drill holes in the wrong places. Well, that all went on rather longer than anticipated. I guess it's not very straightforward fitting off-the-shelf custom caferacer seats. So in this particular episode, we didn't get round to modifying the existing seat that comes with the bike and or creating something completely custom. So I guess we can look at that in another episode. There'll be 3 examples. Modifying the seat from a Ducati Monster to fit the chopped frame. Modifying the seat and tailpiece from this Kawasaki to fit the chopped frame once more. And creating a totally custom tailpiece and seat to fit a Honda CB750 that came from the pillion seat of an MV Agusta 750. So, as always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you thought it was any good or entertaining, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe down here somewhere if you haven't already. And, of course, encourage others to watch my lunacy.